In the humble compound of Umon, young Amora grew up in a world of whispered insults and quiet tears. And often since infancy, she was raised by her aunt, Obianuju, whose heart had grown as hard as the village's ancient Iroko trees. Every day, Obianuju would scold Amora for her perceived shortcomings, her ragged clothing, her unrefined manners, and often forced her into labor until twilight. One rainy afternoon, while sweeping the Aten courtyard, Amora overheard a hushed conversation between her cousins. They spoke eagerly about the royal decree. The king had summoned all eligible maidens to volunteer for a sacred quest to journey into the deep Ohia Oku in search of the Nkumunso, the fabled healing stone that could restore the life of the ailing Prince Chukwumeka. The maidens, mostly of noble blood, were certain that this quest would not only bring honor but also the promise of marriage to the prince. Hearing this, Amora's heart leapt with both hope and fear. But her aunt, determined to keep Amora from what she saw as an opportunity that might embarrass the family with a poor girl, locked her in the dim back room. Yet even as the heavy door sealed her away, Amora's spirit would not be contained. In the stillness of that night, she vowed to escape and claim the destiny that beckoned her from beyond those walls. Under the cover of darkness, when even the village owls were silent, Amora found her chance. Using a rusted nail from an old pot, she picked the lock and slipped quietly into the cool night. Barefoot and shivering in the drizzle, she dashed through muddy paths and darkened alleyways until she reached the compound's edge. By dawn, Amora arrived at the bustling market square, breathless and determined, where the royal herald announced that maidens must gather to pledge themselves to the king's call. At the palace courtyard of Umon, King Izobina's voice rang out over the gathered throng. He declared that 7 virgins of unblemished virtue were needed to journey into Ohia Oku to retrieve the sacred Nkumunso, a stone believed to heal Prince Chukwumeka's mysterious illness. The promise was as enticing as it was steeped in tradition. The maiden who succeeded would not only save the prince but also earn his hand in marriage and secure a place in history. Among the maidens were 6 renowned for their noble birth and beauty, whose names echoed through the royal halls. Adiz, Nkem, Ifioma, Kayameka, Nkechi, and Uche. Standing quietly among them was Amora, her dark eyes filled with both sorrow and steely resolve, her appearance modest but her spirit unyielding. At first light, the 7 maidens set out along a winding path that led to the threshold of Ohia Oku. The forest loomed before them like an ancient sentinel, a realm where towering Iroko and mahogany trees whispered secrets of generations past, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and incantations of the ancestors. Adi's beauty was as renowned as her pride. Not long into the forest, she came upon a still, mirror-like pond where the reflection of her adorned self shone in the water. Mesmerized by the sight, she began to lavish in her own beauty. She lost all sense of time as she preened and admired herself, until the forest, as if rejecting such vanity, cloaked her in a thick, disorienting mist. By the time the fog lifted, Adiz had wandered off the path, never to return. Eager to prove her worth, Nkem raced ahead, dismissing the slow, careful steps of her companions. The winding trails of Ohia Oku soon became a labyrinth to her, and in her haste, she charged into a dense thicket of briars. The tangled vines ensnared her, And despite her struggles, the forest grip held firm, leaving Kem lost among the shadows and echoes of her own hurried footstep. As the maidens pressed on, Ifeoma's eyes caught sight of glimmering objects scattered along the forest floor. Precious beads, fragments of ancient jewelry, and coins of old glinted in the sun's stray rays. Seduced by the promise of wealth, she strayed from the appointed path, collecting treasures until the forest itself seemed to conspire against her. Hidden pitfalls and cunning snares, set as nature's test, claimed her as a sacrifice to her own covetous desires.